How tough was it to have to sit and, especially that 2010 season, and see Cam kind of raked over the coals and not be able to defend him like he wanted to?
Well, let me say this, Jason, because I think that's a great question. I'm going to start with that 2010, but I'm going to even make that a bigger picture, because what, and I said this earlier today, what is somewhat of an enigma to me is how back in 2010, what started out as a Mississippi State problem all of a sudden became an Auburn problem. It never ended. It went on for 13 or 14 months. And then there seemed to be a trail that kept following of a lot of accusations, a lot of allegations, but I'm looking for facts. And it's very difficult for the Auburn people, and it's not fair. It's very difficult for the Auburn people who were, at that point in time, including our coaches and our players and our staff, having a magical season that people dream about. And whether we like it or not, there's always the elephant in the room. There's always the distraction of, yeah, but the asterisk, we didn't do anything wrong. We signed a good football player who became a Heisman Trophy winner, and we won 14 games. And the unfortunate, sad truth to that is that it'll always go down as a national championship year in the history of Auburn, but it should have been able to be classified and described as exactly what it was. There was a bunch of young guys and a bunch of coaches that worked their rear end off to win a national championship, and they went undefeated. And that's the beginning and the end of the story. In anything or any way that it gets tainted other than that is simply not right. And I'm going to say one thing more about Cam Newton. I will jump to his defense, because what that young man went through and the focus and the way he carried himself under unbelievable scrutiny, and again, for something that he was just trying to go to school and be a college student and be a college quarterback. And he had to endure a lot of unfair criticism that at the end of the day, when the NCAA finally left Auburn, Cam, our coaches, for 13 or 14 months, whatever that was, we were dragged through the mud. And when the NCAA left, they didn't find anything that indicated anybody was paid or anybody was offered money. So I'm going to go one step further for all the people that are educated and have common sense. If you don't know how the NCAA works, they're very thorough in their investigations. Let me make that clear. They're very thorough in their investigations. You want me to back that up with fact? I'll name them. Miami, Ohio State, North Carolina, most recently Oregon, USC. So how could they come into Auburn and leave and find nothing, and that becomes a one-sentence statement after getting drugged through the mud for 13 months? How is that right? It's not right. So my point is that was a magical season for the Auburn people, for us as coaches, and all of our players, and it should be remembered as just that, and nothing more.
As you knew back in 2010 that there was nothing to hide, there was nothing wrong, how hard was it for you on a week-by-week basis to not come out and say that?
I want you guys to imagine what you know is truth. I want you to imagine walking into your house, and I want you to imagine looking at your children and then saying, hey, Daddy, at school, I heard X, Y, and Z. Did you really do that? No, we didn't, son. Well, then why don't you tell everybody? 'Cause we can't. So how hard would that be for anybody at this table? So I knew that there was nothing in there that we did wrong. You ask how hard it is. People say, why did you come and give the same answer every week? How many times in different ways can you ask the same question and I got to give you the same answer? Because what people don't understand, if they don't understand NCAA investigation, is that you cannot impede the progress of an investigation. So however you want to word it, you can change up the verbs and the nouns and the syllables and but it's got to be the same message. And the message is, I can't discuss it. So was that hard? Yes, that hard. But you know, the only thing we were trying to do is eventually get to the truth. And we wanted to make sure, because our compliance staff did a great job in making sure that we were getting to the truth. When the investigation was over, the truth was out.
Gene, the scrutiny has been so much more than the last 19 days. Over the course of 2 years, was that draining even all the way into the course of the 2012 season?
You know, it is draining. And again, the reason it's draining is because you try to figure out exactly why there's so much scrutiny, and you go back to the 2010 season. It started there, and you know, over you know, whatever it was, 2 years, 2.5 years, it just seemed like it never ended. But from my glasses and the way I saw it, it's very frustrating, because you know you're operating this football program exactly the way you need to do it. Every decision was made with the best intent, and so it's really just hard to, you know, operate day by day with what I consider to be, you know, the most scrutinized and sometimes villainized program in the country, and I just didn't see the facts and the data that ever came out that indicated it should have been, and we should have been, and I still don't.